Very beefy 1-2 punch already coming out of OMG. They also have good pick potential in the mid game, so I am now very interested to see the Ahri come through, because you've got a Thresh, you've got all of the initial CC that can come through from Maokai, and oh my god, PYL, please no.
No, we'll see what happens here. Has already brought it out once, the Bard. Don't know if we'll be seeing a repeat performance here, but LGD again, maybe want to have some fun here. They've certainly been very jovial in some recent games, but they'll flick through a couple of picks. Oh my god, the Bard's locked in.
So, stealing a line from Atlas Pastry Time, we are going to go on a journey.
We are going on a very magical journey indeed. Spawn Hecarim, the takeaway from Akon though, so a bit more of a standard top laner, great against the Maokai, and look at Godby. Looks like it's already laughing.
You're going to have a rainbow pony going through a magical journey. This is going to be great.
I mean, you talk about Hecarim flanks, now it's even easier to flank.
Yeah, exactly right. You can go through walls and crazy stuff.
I do like that Akon's the one that gets the teleport smite carry champion, and poor Flame had to play Maokai, but it was open. He had a great game. We'll see what OMG want to take away. Cool looks very unhappy with everything. Uzi's gonna, can I please do this? He's smiling. He wants to play Vayne. I like the Gragas pick. I think Loveling actually played it quite well here, so wouldn't be too surprised to see it. They're going to take Gragas, and Uzi, I think he's unless he's telling him no, but his body tells him yes, it is Vayne.
Well, the thing I actually like about the Vayne pickup here is the fact that Bard, he's not going to be in lane that much. He's roaming around the map, so Uzi actually has the ability early on to get pretty close in the 1v1 versus the Hecarim, and in the 2v2, well, there's not really going to be a 2v2 because we saw PYL already. He doesn't spend much time in lane.
He likes packing up in general as far as movement goes, but now Bard even like flavorfully gives him a reason to leave. Siva Cassidy, another picks for LGD. Imp, I like the Siva here. It works well on the comp, enables Cassidy and Hecarim quite nicely, and Imp, after a big hard carry performance on Twitch, going to take a step back and much more of a utility champion this time around.
Yeah, so a really big mid-game focused team this time around coming for LGD. I honestly don't know when Bard's going to be strong, so I'm just going to throw him in the mid-game pool as well. Pretty safe. But they've got the Rek'Sai, excels in early mid. Hecarim, once it gets to Trinity Force, probably doesn't get much stronger than that until 6 items. Not to mention Cassidy with all the mobility. Mobility lends itself to mid-game very well, but it is Cool's Ahri.
Yeah, and this is a great pick here. It was banned away in the first game, but Cool going to try and show up Godby, I think. Godby had a great Orianna game in game 1, and Cool's going to answer right back with Ahri.
And I love the OMG team comp. They have the 4-man unit, very good at split pushing, good at forcing people off turrets, and then Uzi, he can just run around the map and look to 1v1. Unless he runs into Acorn, really, he's going to have an okay time.
And the nicest thing about, I think Bard in particular here, is that it's probably going to be a lane swap, maybe even end up as a 1v1 in the top lane, maybe with the top lane, and maybe even with both AD carries. Supports can leave and Thresh, very high impact. Cloud's a great roamer, and Uzi, when we've seen he can get aggressive freezes in the 1v0 lanes, he just goes off as far as farm. But we'll go through our matchups. Hecarim Maokai to start things off, and Rek'Sai Gragas in the jungle.
Yeah, and Rek'Sai and Gragas, they kind of do the same thing. They traverse terrain very well. You see, it is the Cassidy versus Ahri matchups. It's like we come full circle back to the start of the season. And Imp versus Uzi is going to be Siva versus the Vayne this time around.
And last but not least, or perhaps in this case, it is PYL. He's back on the Bard, and Cloud's got one of his best champions in Thresh.
Yeah, exactly right. And thank goodness there is not a Cho'Gath to eat everyone coming through the magical journey this time around, because last time he took his team on a ride with him and then got yelled at really loudly.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here in this game. But LGD going back to some interesting picks. I actually think apart from the Bard, it's pretty standard LGD stuff. And PYL, come on, man, it's the roaming support. He just wants to play Bard.
Yeah, exactly right. And you need to see if you can make it work. I really do think that there is a place for Bard in the meta. I think it is with the Smite Teleport and maybe a more immobile jungle that you can help set up ganks with. He can really get people into some very cool positioning with that magical journey.
Well, we're going to find out what sort of magical journey we're going on today as we're about to get onto the Rift. And welcome back onto the Rift. LGD versus OMG Game 2. LGD actually up again, but OMG, massive 5-man stack. Flash snuck up there into Imp, and the death sentence just short.
Yeah, so they're able to get Imp's Flash level 1. Bard putting down all the pain early. You see him gallivanting away. Will be caught out probably.
Yeah, tumbled a skilled early for Uzi. The passive helping here at level 1. Loveling still chasing in Cloud. Maybe going to find another hook just for harassment purposes. Dodges the Q, does Cloud, so not going to get tethered to a wall. And OMG going to get some wards down, looking for the swap for Vayne, you have to think.
Yeah, so extremely deep vision coming through all over the bottom half of the map, being mirrored a little bit by Rek'Sai, who's just chilling out at the red buff, asking for some help. And obligingly, Acorn will come over.
Yep, gonna get some vision down there. Acorn does not have his trinket, unfortunately. Just Cassidon left for LGD, so can't quite get the vision down. Have to think they've already suspected the swap. Civ is actually up in the top side, so you have to think that they are going to get the swap here. But even in some sort of 1v1, as long as Uzi gets a safe lane to himself, even against the Civ, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, Uzi's going to be spotted. This is a very bad path to take into the lane.
Oh, just going to live, though. POL doesn't go through him, and Cloud's going to join the top side. The buff is getting stolen away, but Uzi somehow gets away with that.
Yeah, and that was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, the weirdest thing is, with the way that the jungle now works out because of the swap, I guess both lanes swap, but LG are going to be the ones that end up with control of the top side of the map.
Yeah, exactly right. So this is a 2v2, and yet they able to steal away the buff. They're going extremely early for a gank. Uzi as well as Cloud, they know something is up.
POL.
They've moved very far away.
POL only level 1, unfortunately, so we can't go on a magical journey just yet. But that's a big gank coming through. 4-man gank. Actually, make it. No, 5, not quite. Cassidon's in the mid. Uzi going to pop the heal early. Flash uses well. Massive flash knock up there from TBQ. The dive comes in. Hook lands not quite from Cloud. And OMG get away.
Every summoner spell now burnt in the bottom lane. So what they got early with that flash on Imp is now completely gone. And they didn't really lose that much for it because Hecarim, he's level 2 as well as the Maokai, going to just be able to teleport into that bottom lane.
Yeah, and Uzi has to be so careful here in the lane, even though Bard doesn't have the best lane pressure. If he gets caught by a stun and eats a boomerang blade there from PYL, he's going to rack up the damage quickly, and he's completely zoned off the wave right now.
Yeah, so Bard, especially with, he's got some low base auto attacks, but as he picks up those meeps, I think, able to get a little bit more harassed through. So we'll see if he does go for a little bit of a wander to start collecting those over the map.
Yeah, unfortunately needs to get the chimes to power up the meep. So we'll have to go on a bit of a journey at some point. That's sort of Bart's thing. He is a roamer, but right now POL sticking in the top side.
Yeah, so they've got a big push in here. They're just freely harassing Uzi, although PYL just took a little bit too much harass there. Sets down a health. Wait for that one to power up.
Yep. Some spare food there. Health hanging out in the brush is leveling.
They go
we'll come down to the bottom lane. Yeah, they might look for a dive onto Akon-san. Going to start it up. Good levels here on the Maokai. Who's the demands following in now? Loveling going to tank it up. Knock-up coming through. Damage not quite there. San's still tanking, but Akon might just chase him down. That's going to force San to flash, and he will get first blood.
And that was an ugly play coming out of the OMG top laner. Went the wrong way. If you're on that side of the turret, just flash back into your lane. Don't go towards the jungle. Would have been even worse if the jungler was there for a counter jank, and Acorn just saw it coming.
Yeah, gets the first blood, almost donated to him here in this situation. And the Hecarim, who could potentially have been held down in this situation, at least early on, given all the swap that's happened. I guess maybe not with the standard lanes, but Hecarim off to a good start, never a good sign.
Yeah, exactly right. And the funny thing is, Maokai actually does really well against Hecarim with the ability to heal up whenever Hecarim is spamming that Q. It wasn't ever really a threat for that lane to get really far behind, so going for an early dive just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and the pressure really is on the top side after that big gank. No revisit here from LGD, but they don't need to. Uzi's already going to start falling behind. He's can't play aggressively at all without the summoner spells available. Just has to get whatever farm he can, and Imp has done a good job denying him so far.
Yeah, Imp stacked this wave, but he missed 3 CS doing it, so a little bit of a misplay up there, but he will get the early advantage, and they'll continue to harass under turret.
Yeah, and Cassidon also winning the mid lane matchup as well. Been a while since we've seen it, as PWL does get descended there by Cloud. Going to get ignited, flash out there, but too much damage coming through. Heal being used as well. Uzi wants it so bad. Ignite doesn't quite get it. Good double binding, but Cloud gets the kill. Loveling's here as well. Going to land onto Imp, and Imp gets the kill. Now Silverbolt's proc doesn't complete. Loveling moving in, gets the chilling smite. Cloud going to move him, but he actually might die here. Has to maybe order, but Loveling gets the kill.
Yeah, Cloud, a very over-aggressive play there. You also have to say the same about PYL. I think he thought he was dead to the Ignite, turned back around, and then ended up falling to an auto attack. But in saying that, Cloud picked up the kill for his team as well as Loveling, and it was Imp that picked it up on the side of LGD. So probably more worthwhile gold on the LGD favor, even though it was a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and as we move back into mid lane for a little bit now as well, I have to ask you, Spawn, again, it's been a while since you've seen the matchup. Cassidy winning so far, is this how it's supposed to go in the early stages?
Cassidy just is a very strange matchup. He's kind of what old Ari used to be, where you can just call everything a skill matchup. Ari now has some very good matches since she's been changed, but with the way the shield works, with how much, I guess, durability Cassidy currently has, he really does need to be bullied more by auto attacks, and it just doesn't look like Cool's been able to get that done. No, and
again, you can see Cassidy just kind of unharassable at this point. Goes in, good charm will save Cool from potential all-in there, but level 6 is hit for Cassidy, and Godvy's really turning it on now.
And the thing about the going aggressive is means he's going to go extremely quickly. It is a little bit more of a rift. Ooh, 1v1.
Yeah, Imp in trouble, but Cloud going to make it a 2v2. Great spell trip with a hook. Lands inside. Cloud sets it all up, and Uzi going to look for it, but TBQ finds the knock-up. Loveling here a little late, and LGD going to keep chasing in. Teleport even coming through for Acorn. He's got his ulti. Cloud gets knocked up, ulted there, and PYL gets the kill.
Yeah, with the assistance of the little friends as well. I think it was actually an auto attack that came through and cleaned that one up. PYL goes on a magical journey.
Yep, going through, trying to zone out Loveling, but can't quite find it. Going to keep moving in. Imp goes on a journey as well, wants to join his friends, and actually going to kind of proxy the wave as a result.
Probably just needs to learn the interaction well enough, so he's like, I'll just go through for the sake of it. Oh, that's what that ability does.
Yep, now he knows. He's like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Not following it ever again, PYL. But, you know, Bard's actually stuck in lane for a while. It's been a bit awkward that he hasn't been able to collect the charms and do roaming, but at least he's shown presence in the lane, and that's put Uzi very far behind.
Yeah, it certainly has, and, you know, actually is fairly impressive in this lane. It was a very good game coming through, and we're getting pointed out how much Cool is losing this lane by in the mid lane. Whilst Cassidy, a little bit of a skill matchup, there's no way that Cool should be 20 CS behind at this point in the game, and it's just better play coming out of Godfrey.
Yeah, I mean, we had an isolated mid lane from all the swapping. Attention was mostly top and bottom, I guess, here. So, you know, they've been able to play it at 1v1, and Godfrey certainly won the early stages of the lane. Even Uzi's pretty dramatically behind as well. Now catching up with his comeback in, but doing a bit of thrift shopping there. Just double longsword, Dorans, and Boots one, getting whatever AD he can right now.
Yeah, exactly right. He will go into that Cutlass, of course, early game, and the impressive thing about Godfrey is understand that he's started to win the lane, so he's gone away from the Catalyst of Protector. He's no longer just trying to go even with the Cassidy. That's a very much go even Cassidy build. He's grabbed the blasting one. He wants to start dominating with some AP, and you can't really blame him. He's still 20 CS up.
No, can't at all. Here an Imp also moving back. PYL will rejoin, going off to collect some nearby chimes, I think. But he returns almost level 6, actually. So could see PYL's Bard ultimates come out. We saw a couple of choice ones in the last time we saw his Bard. So we'll see if he's improved the skill at all. Oh, the hook's actually landed in the top lane, though, so we have trouble there. Could hear that sound effect as PYL now going to be the one under effect. Uzi going to get initiated on the good condemn moves. PYL back with him, running in there with the ultimate. Cloud forced to get off, but though Imp might just line it up. Boomerang Blade, good flash there from Cloud, keeps him alive, but LGD winning lane, and PYL going on a journey, just missing the Q into the wall.
Yeah, so not able to get it, but the flash in.
TBQ finds it, gets it with the smite actually there, and Uzi, couple of auto trades here and there, but can't do anything in the top lane. San's joining in, but the tower's dead, and PYL gets it, might actually be under attack. Bud has to be careful. Imp zoning out Uzi, though PYL will go down, and Cool's joined in, gets the kill. Uzi gonna go down, no! Condemn keeps him alive for a bit longer. Loveling now joining in as well. Cool ripping people apart, gonna get the kill onto Imp. Already gets a double. Godfrey's joined in now as well, though. There's Rexler getting the kill onto Gragas. Now they have to run away, but Cassidy really wants to go back in. Sun gonna get low here. Uzi with the turret shield might be okay. Out of mana, going very aggressive back in, and a massive fight and a huge trade in the top lane.
And this is one thing where new teams will learn about Cassidy after his slight changes, that you do not go into consistent fights against him. Although good flash bind.
Sick flash charm there gets him. Follows up with the orb, and Coolzari still good.
Yeah, still really good now. 3-0-0 after that team fight. So what he was struggling with in lane, he more than made up with in the first little skirmish. But people stacking on top of the Cassidy, and that's what we want to talk about, because you saw how many Rift Walks came through in that set, that little skirmish, and it's just the damage continues to stack up. And with the max mana build coming out, it will be the roller into probably Athene's Unholy Grail. He can just do it for days.
And you can see PYL starting to roam now, has the Moby Boots and a Sidestone in his happy place, you have to think. Now roaming around on Bard.
Little bit of a different relationship coming through.
Yes, quite a bit different. Nothing like Imp and PYL in the top lane, which is very loving.
Exactly right. And we see PYL actually in the bottom lane. He's still doing a fair bit of laning for a roaming support, trying to line up the wall stun coming through, sweeps out a ward. One thing I will say about Bard, probably has the coolest new auto attack animation. Just looks like he's brushing across.
It does. It's very peaceful
to
play Bard. I think that's what PYL is really enjoying. And there's a lot of comfort picks here in the game for both sides, actually. So maybe it's just, you know what? We won a game up already. Everyone just, play champions like. We'll take it slow, and PYL just on the Bard. I mean, traditionally he's played music. Maybe just going to put them all to sleep. Very lovingly.
Oh, just misses there. Thought one of the creeps was going to die. Of course, it goes through a couple. The ultimate!
Yeah, Tempered Fate comes down. Now TVQ lines it up. Huge double knock up in there as well. Cloud under threat will go down to Imp. Now Sang going to join in as well. And we joked about it last time, but PYL's Bard mechanics back on point. And Sang nowhere to go. Getting it knocked up again by the Rek'Sai. Gets bound into the wall, and Imp gets a double.
And he's making me a believer pastry time. That was a sick play, and you couldn't have done it on anyone but the Bard. Just keeping him there, the double knock up, making sure he stunned them both into the wall afterwards. What a great play coming through here. And Acorn, he's got Uzi scouted.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's got the challenging smite. Does challenge him now as well. Yeah, Lovelings here actually is going to go in for the smite. Can he find it? No, TBQ secures it there. PYL, Magical Journey's away. Lovelings like, I do not want to follow you.
Yeah, he's like, I will not take that path.
No, wrong.
Wanders back into his jungle instead.
And I have to agree with you. That combo down the bottom, I wish we could get a replay. That was absolutely sick. When you looked at Bard's ult and what it does, that's the sort of thing we expect to see. And that was on-point initiation by PYL and the rest of LGD.
Yeah, and you think what other champion from that range can do exactly what Bard just did? And there's no answer to it. No one else can do that kind of thing. Morgana probably has the most similar ultimate, but you need to be right in the middle of their team to get it done, and they can still walk out of it. This is a little bit of a cast time, and then instant. Like, you can see where it's going.
Just think about LGD's comp actually with the Bard in it now that we kind of reevaluate that last little play. You got two good abilities to put in there. You can run in Hecarim ult, you can run in Rek'Sai for a knock-up. You can set up Kassadin to charge up Riftwalks while the stasis is going on and then jump them in. And Sivir gets everyone in range so that if you long-range Bard ulti, everyone catches up in time to CC them.
And that's what I was going to say. The main complaint about Bard at this... Wow.
Yeah, good shot there, but Imp gets tagged by a Trump. Death sentence there, so Loveling joins in and cool. Another kill, his fourth, I believe.
Yeah, that wasn't one of Imp's better plays coming through there. He was caught way out of position and made pay. They're going for a 1-3-1 split push, but now TBQ, he's been caught out of position.
Yeah, has to be careful. Tunnels away, takes a tower hit, but should be safe here. Bard not quite in the area to send him on a magical journey, but everything will be all right for now. And cool, just going to rejoin the area. Blue buff now on Ari, 4 kills and a quick Athenes.
Yeah, so he's really in control of the mid lane now. Cool, pushing in, probably will even be able to take the turret out. Although PYL, he's flying in there.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to face check any CC. He does even just take a quick orb of deception, and quite a big chunk of damage comes through as a result. We'll defend the lane while the rest of his team is absent here, and we'll catch up eventually as they move back into their lanes. And San actually going to be the target, apparently.
Yeah, so they're waiting for him to show himself. I think San has a very good inkling someone's there, but they will still be able to go in on this.
Yeah, and then they're ready to go. They have the ward. TBQ follows in. Chilling Smite does come down. Knock up through there as well. San forced to flash away. Won't chase, but they get a summoner spell.
Yeah, so he used the Righteous Glory. Really patient play out of San to not go in too deep there. Doesn't die. Gets a summoner spell, but that was a lot of time invested for not really much return because it is a Maokai. He'll be completely fine.
Yeah, we'll see Imp getting towards his Infinity Edge. Almost done there. Uzi lagging behind a Blade of the Ruin King here. Would have liked to have finished up by now 100 gold off at this stage. 800 gold in the...
Under reverse, Imp on a more late game hyper carry.
Oh, more love. Maybe that's why POA is playing Bud. He just wants to share the love. Everyone needs to go on a magical journey together. Magical journey of life spawn.
Yeah, but and if we keep going back to the Bard, the Sivir makes a lot of sense with it because if we've seen one thing is that maybe it's not always in the best position. Some Bard ultimates you really do have to throw from quite a ways away to get it in the optimal timing. So Imp really is going to do a good job of getting his team in there. Not to mention the fact that as soon as you come out, you've got this Hecarim that just wants to get all up in your grill. Really is going to make it so that they really can layer it through.
Yeah, I mean, just even, you know, getting people out under the Bard ulti when it's being thrown in as well. It's just a bit of extra movement speed when they're setting up highly positional ultimates like that. It's very valuable to have. As TBQ actually going to get knocked up on a leveling.
That was a 3-man Bard ult. Come on, TBQ.
Not quite lined it up yet, but maybe going to go in for it again. Could potentially line it up there. ProSeeker will find them. Just some wards being cleared out, though. 2 Orin turrets actually up for LGD. Looking for actually a hook landing there onto TBQ. Does go back in, forced to tunnel out, and LGD very safe, very solid here. And now everyone goes in. Going to go in massive. Cloud gets chased down. PWL gets another kill. Now Acorn diving in the back as well. It's forced to ulti away. Bard ultimate's lined up. He actually got out from under it, but OMG is still going back in onto Imp now as Loveling dives in. Cool. Very threatening as well. And a massive kill there for Godby. Gets one, but he's too far in now. The tower does go down. Godby getting chased down, but Uzi can't quite get him as the heal comes through there, saving that Kassadin's life. And LGD, they get all 3 out of turrets and 2 kills.
Yeah, 2 for nothing as well as a turret. Fantastic play coming out of LGD, and it's just the Kassadin. He's Riftwalks on such a short cooldown at the moment. He's able to get in and out of these fights. Not to mention the fact that TBQ, he's playing another fantastic game, this time on Rek'Sai. He's an absolute monster already, 3-0-5. He's got the Ninja Tabby for a bit of extra tank stats, as well as some team support coming through from that Aegis of the Legion. Really is going to supplement what is already a very powerful mid game.
And we talked about one of TBQ's biggest issues on the team has been consistency for him. He's either very good or just kind of a little average. And this series especially, and even in just the last few weeks, he's looked very strong from the jungle, really improved. And the whole team has kind of come together with him, and we have to look to. LGD scary.
Yeah, definitely. And I think arguably at the moment, you look at Godby as maybe the big carrier on the team. Im's definitely playing well, but the pool seems to match him.
Cool, going to dive in though. PWL does get the slow into Loveling, but he's going to get knocked out. Hook there is on. Uzi gets the kill. Very good gold to get onto, and Cool still chasing in. Bit of a movement speed buff there as Imp still getting aggressed on. Loveling going to catch up, gets it, Chilling Smite. Charm lands point blank there, and Uzi gets a double.
Yeah, so Uzi finally getting going in this game, and if there's anything you don't want to do, it's let Uzi get a little bit fed on the vein, because we've seen it before. Boy's got some sick mechanics, and he loves playing this champion. They'll push in, also take a turret, so they return the favor.
Yeah,
2 for nothing trade.
I mean, I look at OMG's lineup here after that game 1 loss, and I think all they wanted to do, if they were going to lose, is lose on comfort champions. Go back to basics, give him the Vayne, give him the Ahri, even Cloud on Thresh. Everyone from OMG, I guess with the exception of Sun, who's just got a very solid champion, has signature champions here, especially in their history. So, you know, they've gone back on comfort, and it's made a big difference so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Magical Journey can come through here. Nah.
Bard ulti on the Dragon, actually. They're going to try and line up a steal. Oh, very good setups there from PYL. But unfortunately, we do have a temporary pause, it feels like.
Yeah, but the Golden Dragon was pretty spectacular really cool to behold. I want one of those things. And you see, once again, no one else can do that. That's a Bard-only special.
That is a Bard-only special, so we go back in the fight. Very messy right now here. Not too sure what's been going on. We do pop back, unfortunately. Seem to be having a couple of problems here and there, but nothing too major. But the Golden Dragon, it was really sweet.
Yeah, I really like that one coming through there. And that's something that I guess is underexplored in Bard's kit, is the ability to secure objectives like that. The Baron, the Dragon, you can really, I guess, throw people through the loop. Because if you're running these compositions that rely on taking them very early, you can really just muck those things up. And so far, having a fairly solid game.
I mean, it's a pretty well-named ability, Tempered Fate. A lot of these things, these big objectives, they are about timing, and Bard gets to throw that out for a couple, I think 2.5 seconds, and then reset for some sort of reinitiation. It's cool. I mean, PWL's actually clearly brushed up on his Bard mechanics. I think the first time he picked it, he'd been playing it a bit and really wanted the champion to be good and wanted something that he wanted to play on. Now with the second play in the LPL, even just so far in the early stages of this game, improved dramatically. And I think it's something that he's very serious about playing, even though it may look silly sometimes.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And this is something that I just always have said about League of Legends in general. There is a meta because that is what is currently strong. But if you have a champion that you excel on that is outside of that, it is actually more dangerous because teams do not have experience playing against these picks. There is no way that OMG have played against a Bard the same amount of times as they've played against a Janna, a Thresh, even a Blitzcrank, which is a curveball pick in the support position at the moment. Bard just isn't as explored. So when you do cool things like the first turret dive that we saw, you're just not prepared.
Yeah, and I mean, why not do it there for LGD? They've got some time. They've already made it into playoffs, secured their spot pretty handily at this point. Playing against OMG is always going to be a tough order, but if you're going to mix things up, why not test it against one of the best teams?
Exactly right. And maybe it turns into the position where you get a free ban. The last thing teams want to have to do is get in a position where they have to ban PYL's Bard, because it's just not that kind of a champion where you want to have to waste one of your very valuable 3 bans on it.
And we've seen bans are pretty scarce, honestly, right now. There's, some strong champions that people want to take away. Sejuani, Urgot definitely come to mind. I think Rek'Sai, Gragas under them as well. There are a couple of strong champions that people want to take away, but the meta's so open that most of the bans have been targeted. And there are the carries especially, that's where you usually want to point your targeted bans.
Yeah, exactly right. You're on a team with Imp, you're on a team with Godvi. Throw in Acorn there as well. You don't want to have to throw a ban at a curveball support pick. That's just something that you don't want to have to do. And whilst it is quite a balanced meta at the moment, there's still the likes of Urgot that you just, once again, it's one of those picks. You don't have the same amount of games. You have to ban it because it's so strong at the moment. Throw in Sejuani. Even Gragas, I think, at this point is getting towards, even though not having a great game here is leveling, the point where he just does something in clearing out space around turrets that no other jungler does. That teams are going to have to start banning him as well, because he makes push comps out of things that don't normally push.
I mean, I think you said it in one of our earlier broadcasts, maybe even this week, but for you, Gragas is just sort of like upgraded Lee Sin.
Yeah, exactly right, because he has the same ability to initiate from the flank without having to overcommit, which is a definite upgrade, because one of the things about Lee Sin is you can get some of these great flash kicks, but you end up in the middle of no man land. He has the sticking potential, not to mention probably better peel coming out of Gragas, so I really do like what he does. And he does something that Lee Sin doesn't do, and that's if someone is standing on a turret and you don't want them there, you just throw the barrel at them and they're not there anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, Gragas, maybe not as aggressive as Lee Sin, that's where the downsides come in, but in a world full of big tanky junglers, Gragas is surprisingly aggressive.
Yeah, exactly right. And earlier game, because of his cooldowns being a bit lower from the massive tanks, I'm looking at the Sejuanis, the Zacs, the really big tanky junglers. You can throw a Mumu in there. He'll get played at some point, I'm sure.
He's been played already. He'll get played again.
Yeah, he'll get played again. So all these guys with their huge cooldowns, Gragas has slightly less, so he can repetitively body slam. He can hit them with his barrel a couple of times and do that percentage health damage. So I really do think that we're at the point in the meta where teams are going to start figuring these champions out and use them to their strengths. And as the curveballs, they're just going to keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, for all of LGD's misfortune, Ashe, mid-Riven, jungle Riven, Kha'Zix, shenanigans, there's a Bard in there. People I played it once, didn't get a win. Looked a bit silly.
Yeah, people thought he fell into that category that we're talking about, but now he's showing that it definitely doesn't.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about LGD mixing things up, is that at this point, moving into playoffs against LGD, you don't know what's real anymore. Like, do they actually play Ashe? Does Imp love Misfortunes is like secretly really strong? Like, LGD have done so much stuff that's looked brilliant, silly, confusing, and just mostly wonderful, if I'm perfectly honest, that anyone's going to play them in playoffs and be like, I don't know what to do against you
exactly
anymore.
Right. And, we saw Curse of the Sad Bullet Time be a very real strategy in previous seasons. There's no reason that Tempered Bullet Time can't be something as well. Throw the Bard ultimate out, get Misfortune in the perfect position, then laugh your head off as you destroy your team.
I'm ready for Bard Misfortune. I mean, that'd be sick.
Well, Misfortune, the other thing about Misfortune, not a great carry, by the way. I'm not encouraging anyone to pick her up. But her damage early game, because it is so mixed, is probably unsurpassed still in regards to 80 carries.
Yeah, a weirdly good duelist is Misfortune. And again, when you don't play these champions, I mean, we know this stuff because we spend too much time thinking about the game, but these players, they got